So, The Walking Dead, are they building for the future, or is it going to be underwater like that bridge? Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of The Walking Dead Snack Bites. Tonight we're talking about episode 3 of season 9. And getting right into it, it's we're building towards the last episodes, obviously, of Rick Grimes before he leaves the show. They're marketing it constantly. And this
I'm
was just one step closer to that.
it is, but I'm going to make a prediction right now. So we know that Jade is looking for A's or B's. I don't know what that means just yet. I don't know if that means leaders or followers, or willing and unwilling, or whatever. But I'm pretty sure that Rick is going to be that final chip that she needs to get her way onto that helicopter. And my prediction is that Rick will be knocked unconscious, and as he's slowly waking up, he'll see the helicopter flying away, and he'll whisper Michonne's name, and then that will be the end of Rick Grimes on the show. Because we all know that they're gonna expand and do movies and stuff, and Rick Grimes will be back in a movie. That is my prediction, and I'm sticking to it until I see otherwise.
Yeah, so the whole helicopter thing, right? I don't know how long they've had it in the works that Andrew Lincoln was going to leave the show and that Rick Grimes was going to be written off. I'm assuming that probably most people who worked on the show knew it for a while. And so, assuming that they knew about this the last, like year and a half or whatever, I thought in season 8 that it was kind of bizarre and unusual when they had that scene. It was like episode 6 or 7 where Rick is like walking along the street like all alone, and he just like hears the helicopter, looks up and sees it, and has this like look on his face like, what the fuck was that, right? And they never mention it again, like the whole season. And I thought that was really weird. And I'm wondering if maybe that was the first foreshadowing, little like planting of the seed, because the fact that they would have like him look at the helicopter and be confused by it, right?
Yeah.
They could have done that with any character, literally anyone, but like they had him see it like as if maybe he's going to recognize it later on at some point in this season.
Yeah.
So, and then now, like the whole thing with the helicopter is coming out even more. They made a point of having it be the last scene of last episode with Jada slash Anne looking at it. It just kind of seems like there's some connection between like her and the helicopter and Rick.
It's building up to a crescendo.
Yeah, and then like even in season 7 when he was at the trash yard for the first time, they put the helicopter like over right here on his like right shoulder, basically in the background. They put a lot of Easter eggs in, or not Easter eggs, but like hints in there, I guess you'd say. So I hope that theory is correct. I hope that it means he's not going to die. I cannot imagine a Walking Dead world with Rick Grimes being dead definitively. I just don't think that the fans are going to accept that.
Speaking of fans, and I asked this question myself, but just like Andy, Rick Grimes is pro Richonne Jr. And he asked Richonne in code, maybe I don't pull out this time. Maybe we plan for the future. And I am sure that any Richonner is rejoicing. I know I was, for sure.
Yeah, so, and by the way, if you guys didn't see the video that we posted from San Diego Comic Con where she asks everybody on The Walking Dead, is there going to be a Richonne Jr.? And they all choke at the same time, like, oh, we're not allowed to say. And then it was basically confirmed in this episode. I mean, obviously, that's what that means, which is, a good thing to see. Maybe it's gonna. I hope it doesn't take 3 years for that baby to get born.
No.
Like Maggie's. Jesus Christ, she was pregnant forever. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I can't imagine how these next 2 episodes are going to play out. I didn't see the whole Oceanside thing coming. That was sort of. I mean, it made sense, I guess, once Arat said what she said to Cyndi's brother and all that kind of thing. We knew Simon was an asshole and was insane and did that kind of thing before. I guess it makes sense. The only thing that I don't understand is like how they're all going to go on now in the society. I mean, are Maggie and Daryl just gonna like look the other way and not mention
Well,
it to
see,
anybody? Like, how is that gonna?
what bothered me about that is that
It's like, oh yeah, these people just disappeared like the rest. Like they're gonna keep demanding explanations for this kind of
what
thing.
bothers me is that Maggie's whole Gregory thing kind of, in a way, fell in line with Rick's line of thinking, and that it was a rule to it. It was out open in the public for everyone to see. It wasn't like
It wasn't a secret.
it wasn't a secret. So picking people off, that's just plain revenge, which I'm fine with revenge, but don't try and dress it up as some form of justice. Not to mention, Gregory did some new shit that brought that on. That wasn't based on all the old things he'd done. That was based on what he did that week.
Which was more than enough to get him executed already, but for some reason they waited until like there was a direct hit taken out on Maggie's life by him, essentially. Like that was like the thing that pushed it over the edge.
And I will say that what Arad did was heinous and awful, and I'm not saying that she didn't deserve what happened to her, but doing it in the cloak of darkness, that's not the way to do it. They should have held a public trial, and then they should have hung her like they hung Gregory. The end.
I mean, I kind of don't really agree though, like with Cindy's logic in killing her now, because it's like the whole theme of this season and the whole theme of their society is that they're trying to rebuild civilization and move forward. And I mean, come on, let's not be naive here. Them choosing to merge and live with the saviors, like they knew that all of those saviors had done something heinous at some point. They're fucking saviors.
Well, not all of them. Some of them were just workers.
Well, but
the workers.
A lot of them were saviors, though, right? And like, I mean, you know that if you're a savior, you did some really fucked up shit because you worked for Negan, and so I kind of feel like it's against the spirit of the thing that they're trying to build by like punishing them for crimes that happened before this new world was built. Well,
no, I can see doling out some kind of punch. Although I don't think what was described, I accept it because this is what the show said. But what was described did not sound like Arat's character to me. It sounded like Simon's character, not Arat.
Yeah.
Her saying no exceptions is one thing, but smiling about it, that didn't seem wholly correct.
Yeah. Seemed out of character.
But again, there should have been some sort of picking them off in the middle of the night and kidnapping people. That's not the same thing as some kind of order, right? So that's problematic to me. It's also problematic that it doesn't seem like Negan is getting any outdoor time. That seems like just plain torture. I'm just saying, if you're gonna have a prisoner, we know how prisons work. They get outdoors. They get rec time. They get outdoors time. They get TV time. Keeping someone in the hole, that's in a dark basement, minimal lighting, that's torture.
Yeah.
That's a form of torture. Just fucking kill him then at that point.
It is inhumane, and I mean, at this point, food and water are so scarce.
Even Daryl got outside time, and he was tortured.
Yeah, well, I mean, and like just from like a purely like utilitarian standpoint, I mean, like food and water are so scarce. Why would you waste it on somebody like Negan? If like it doesn't make sense from like
waste away in a musty basement.
Yeah, you might as well just like starve him to death and let him die and have that be his like final punishment. Using food and water on him, I don't think makes any sense whatsoever.
I think they should just cap him in the back of the head and call it a day.
Yeah.
Or make him leave, or drop him off, like blindfold him and drop him off somewhere or something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. But
Rick is inconsistent in his rules for whether or not to kill somebody or not. You know what I mean? Like he can't make up his fucking mind. It's like he catches these people like out in the middle of the forest. They like grab Carol and like threaten to gut her, and then this other dude pulls a gun on him, and Rick's like, "No, we're not going to do that," and like let them go. Which to me was a totally dumb.
He left it up to Carol.
Okay.
He saw the knife, and the conversation he was having wasn't really with the savior. It was with Carol. And he's like, and Carol was like, "It's over," and Rick was like, "All right, well, I guess it's over." And then he like looked away to let Carol do what she wanted to do, and instead of stabbing him in the throat or in the eye or wherever, she stabbed him in the shoulder where it wouldn't harm him. And she did that. I mean, obviously, she did that because she listened to what Rick had to say about needing to rebuild and needing people.
Well, but okay, so here's my
Which is
issue
funny because
though.
that's what Negan also said. But
My issue is that, like, what was the name of the guy who got killed at the end of the last episode and they found him with the thing through? Justin? Is that his name?
I just know his real name is Zach. So
I think it was Justin. Let's just call him Justin. So, you know, that guy is acting like a total D-bag and like causing all these problems in the community, right? And he gets into this confrontation with Rick, and Rick is like, dude, I've had enough of your shit. I used to be a cop. I've dealt with a million people like you. You have to fucking leave. You are banished. Does that, and then like in this episode, these two guys threaten his life and Carol's, and he's like, go back to the hilltop. They'll stitch you up.
that's just Carol made the call not to kill him.
But that's just, he should, in my mind, he should have been like, nope, doesn't matter what Carol says, bam, bam. I mean, she's the one following his lead. He should have been like, make an executive decision right then. These people are clearly dangerous. Justin was a fucking D-bag, and he should have gotten smacked around a little bit. And personally, I would have let Daryl beat the shit out of him. Would have taught him a lesson. But if he's not going to kill that guy, I don't see how he's like totally okay with like letting these two people live who have made it very clear they have no problem killing one of their own.
The other guy was a sheep. But I could see killing that tomato dude. Like, he was a clear troublemaker.
Absolutely.
Although, to be fair, his paranoia was totally warranted, as we discovered at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I just think that, like, Rick is not clear in his own head in terms of his own rules for what goes and what does not go.
Rick doesn't want to kill anyone anymore. He's taking the Morgan route.
He's new Morgan. Yeah. He's new Morgan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to watch his struggle with the whole thing.
Rick might as well have said to Carol, you don't like it, Carol. You don't like it. I know you don't.
He should say something about losing himself. That would have just like tipped the whole thing off.
I don't think anybody but Morgan knows, maybe Michonne, that Rick went on a savior killing spree with a bunch of saviors who weren't, who were scared.
That was pretty brutal. Him. Yeah.
I don't think, and if he explained that, like, look, Maggie, Daryl, whoever, I get it. Before the war was done, I went off with Morgan and I killed a bunch of those guys that ran off from Hilltop. That was me. I killed them all, and I felt really bad about it.
Well, and the thing is, too, is that, I mean, we're sort of getting off topic, but we knew, though, that he never had any intention of bringing them back, though, because, like, after he put on the murder coat and walked outside, he asked somebody inside of the Hilltop, like, where do you think they went, or something.
The hunchback.
Yeah, and they were like, and he was like, oh, they went in this direction. Like, you could totally bring them back if you wanted to. And he like looks at him and he's like, yeah, I could. I mean, he made it clear right then.
All right,
there was no intention.
Morgan, Michonne, hunchback know what Rick did.
Exactly. He knew the second he left Hilltop that if he found those people, he was going to kill them. I mean, it's just the fact.
That's why Michonne told him to sit his ass down, and then he didn't listen to her.
He didn't listen.
Which is why
he was bloodthirsty.
Well, when he came back, his head, he couldn't even look her in the eye.
Yeah, he did that was probably like the worst thing Rick's ever done, morally. Like, that was really cold. I mean, that was really cold. I didn't like that. About, Maggie and Daryl saying, it's time to go see Negan.
So obviously they're going to go and try and break into the prison to kill him.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if it's like breaking in. I'm sure they can just walk over there and say, we want to talk to him, and just kill him right then if they want to. I don't know if they're planning on making it like a public. They can't really make it a public thing, like Gregory, because Rick will intervene. So,
well, we see Rick and Daryl fighting in the next episode, so I'm sure it has something to do with that.
Rick probably finds out somehow what the plan is. Maybe he overhears.
Rick and Daryl are off somewhere, and then Rick realizes that Daryl is stalling him, and he calls him on it. And then Daryl just spills the whole beans about, well, we tried your way, Rick. And then they get into a fight. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, so, yeah, I mean, this is the last thing that I can think of. That I thought that was a really significant exchange between the two of them, and like a very nice moment when Rick said, at one point you spared the life of the guy who left your brother on top of a building to die. mean, that was like a great callback and like
Yeah.
a perfect example of what was being talked about in that conversation. That was a great way to do it. Which is, that sort of thing. Their bond is so deep. A lot of people have this like theory that Daryl is going to kill Rick, and that's ridiculous. I mean, anybody who's been watching since the beginning of the show, I mean, yeah, they have their squabbles, but it's like a brotherly squabble. You know what I mean? It doesn't
Like
result.
Shane.
Yeah, well, they weren't brothers.
They were.
They were best friends.
They were brothers.
Okay, but I don't think that Daryl would ever do something on the level of what Shane tried to do to Rick. That's the thing. That's the difference. Is like Shane
For Maggie?
Shane wait, Maggie doing that to Rick?
No. Daryl doing that for Maggie too.
No. No way. No fucking way.
He's already siding with her.
He's siding with her, but he's not like saying Rick's so out of control we have to kill him.
No,
not even close to that.
Not yet.
It's not even close to that. I don't think that's gonna.
I don't think that'll happen either. But if it does, I'm done.
I think their bond
bouncing.
is way. Yeah. I mean, I'll still watch, but honestly, that would just like piss me off so much that
I would need a break.
It would be so implausible to see Daryl even in the show anymore. I mean, honestly, every time you saw him, you would just hate him. Like, you're the guy who killed Rick Grimes. I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, the writers are smarter than that. That would just create the most unlikable character ever in Walking Dead history.
Speaking of the writers, I will just say, I just want to point out that Maggie took out 10, 15 walkers on her own, one by one, which makes it still so weird why they didn't just do that the first time around in the first episode when that Hilltop kid got killed. I'm just throwing it out there. Maggie, by herself, picking up the Oceanside girl slack.
I don't understand why Cyndi was like even out there with her. That to me seemed like
I don't
really
recall
bad...
Cyndi being that weak. Like when did she get so soft? She wasn't like that before.
I don't remember, but I just thought that it was like ridiculous that, I mean, they always make sure the people who go out into the field know what they're fucking doing. And then, all of a sudden here they are in the middle of like an open field, all this area behind them where like walkers could just show up out of the forest. Anything could happen at any time. And Maggie waits until they're totally vulnerable to say, "Oh, you got this?"
Well, no, I mean, but no, it stands to reason because
stupid.
How Cyndi was discovered was by Tara. Like, Cyndi was a fighter. She was one of the best fighters Oceanside had, and then today she was like this total punk, like total 180.
Wasn't really a character. And plus, she also, I mean, Cyndi had a knife strapped like to the front of her belt. And so that to me means that she's used to having a knife ready to take it out and attack, right? Why would you have that on your belt unless you were used to going out of the field and like either being able to A, defend yourself against people, or B, killing walkers? That was a little bit like, not so good writing. It didn't really make sense, like, for her character, and it didn't make sense, like, costuming-wise or anything like that. And then also Maggie, if she's so unsure of her abilities, why did she leave her alone? She's like, oh, follow my lead, and then she just disappears off camera, like, to the right, and lets Cyndi go up to the house, which is the most dangerous thing in the whole shot.
No, it's not, because one, Cyndi said she got this, and two, Maggie had the group of walkers following her.
Well, I know, though, but they knew that walkers were inside the house.
Yeah, but they were still trapped in there.
Okay, but she let
tripped
Cyndi...
on nothing and fell through the floor and twisted her ankle.
My point, though, is that Maggie let Cyndi go up to the house, which is like, what was Cyndi going to do up there without Maggie? Stand there and wait for her?
Take them off one by one like Maggie did.
There weren't any walkers outside of the house.
I know.
I mean, she would have had to open the door, which is super dangerous.
No, it was wooden planks. She could have taken a couple down and stabbed the first few in the head.
That's what I was assuming was going to happen.
But Cyndi was stupid and just a colossal place.
But, like, my point is that that's the kind of thing, though, that somebody as experienced as Maggie would have, possibly known was going to happen and not let somebody like Cyndi go and deal with it.
But Cyndi was supposed to be seasoned, and then somehow she...
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
I don't know. She was brain damaged or something.
Yeah, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So that's probably like the one flaw of this episode that I thought was kind of like badly done.
Yeah, I'm sure Maggie went into it thinking that they were on at least almost on the same level or close to. And then Cyndi was like, "Oh, save me! I've fallen."
Like, even the beginning of that scene, it's like she doesn't have a long, short-ranged weapon like a machete or a sword. Like, she only has the knife. She has to find a pitchfork there. Like, what if there wasn't a pitchfork available? She was just supposed to go into the house with just a knife? Like, that just did not make any sense whatsoever. I mean, you would never send somebody into the field like that unless they had, like, Rick's hatchet or, you know, a machete or something like that. So, oh well, tiny flaw. Overall, it was still a very good episode. Very good season so far. I'm enjoying it immensely, even though Rick's going to leave soon. Any more about this episode? Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys like our content, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also like the Facebook page. Follow all of our social channels below on the screen. Leave a comment, most importantly. Let us know what you think. What's going to happen these next 2 episodes? So many questions, very, very few answers. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.